What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Bear With Us podcast. I am Frank. Joined with me is Nas. Nas, how we feeling?
It's a new day, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Caleb.
Listen, it is all but official. And surprisingly, late March or mid, depending on how you look at it, March. We have quite a bit to talk about. I mean, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and we are we as in the Bears are in every headline, on every talk show, the center of every single debate. Before we get into all that though, Nas, you didn't get a chance to talk about the field trade itself, so I wanted to open the floor to you, give you an opportunity. You have more clarity than when me and Jack did the immediate reaction, because it was just like raw. It was like, it just happened. Let's fucking do it. Nas, what were your initial thoughts, and then sort of what are you thinking as it stands right now?
My initial thoughts were, I hope it's a day 2 pick. And then I looked at what the trade compensation was. I saw it was a 6-rounder, conditional 4th. And I kind of just didn't look into it anymore after that. I was just like, all right, we already knew it was going to be lower than what we wanted. And I kind of had already internalized that moment. And so I was just like, okay, whatever. It's Caleb's time. It's official. We don't have to worry about any of the Justin defenders voicing their opinion and it having an impact on what the Bears do as an organization. Clearly, no one took that into account, and they made the right move. And ready to roll.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it sort of came to me during the immediate reaction podcast, but even more so when we were texting in our little Bear With Us group chat of I think anyone has the right to be upset at the Hall coming back. I still again, I do think this is the NFL telling us a little something about what they think about Justin Fields, and I think they're wrong. I think he's worth more than that. But we were being greedy. Let's just be we have this number 1 pick, generational talent, fall into our fucking laps, and we're being a little greedy there. So I'm right there with you as it stands. It is what it is. Again, no one's going to remember that trade if Caleb Williams, the Justin Fields trade, no one's going to remember that, if Caleb wins a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, it goes on to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. It just is what it is.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, Poles making that trade last year impacts the next 10 to 15 years of this franchise. Poles making this trade, max was going to impact us on a 4 to 5 year scale. And is probably going to be, and now it's pretty clear it's going to impact us for even less than that, unless we somehow draft a Pro Bowler in the 6th round. But it's not that impactful to the franchise. There's a lot more other things that we have coming up that are going to be a lot longer lasting and impact the franchise in a great way.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think last thing with that, Nas, that I want your thoughts on is the prevailing thought, or just sort of the reports that are at the forefront now, are that Ryan Poles did Justin Fields a solid. He sort of allowed Justin Fields and his representation a chance to, survey the landscape and see what would be the better fit for him. I don't think they told us what exactly that meant for them, but he allowed them to do that. They identified Pittsburgh and they made it work. Do you think there's any truth to that, or what are your thoughts on that whole reporting?
I think there might be very, very minimal truth to it. It was a late 5th or this 6th. I don't think we were offered a 4th or 3rd rounder and Poles nah, I got to do this for my guy. There's no way. So maybe on some level, it was oh, well, we could get this pick here at whatever the number is, 96, but we'll get 104 instead. It's okay, 9 spots, whatever. Fuck off, Poles. It's fine. I don't get why he felt the need to put that out there, to be honest. We're not in the NBA. The NFL is not built that way. There are stars, but it's not a star-driven league. So I don't really see the reasoning behind putting that story out there, nor do I believe most of it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think there's a kernel of truth to it, that maybe one was willing to do a conditional 3rd instead of a conditional 4th, right? There was some, but it wasn't so astronomical. Whereas like if Atlanta was like, you know what, even though we signed Kirk Cousins, we still want to give a second just for an insurance policy, Poles would have pulled the trigger. Like, let's be completely honest here. And I do think that other team that maybe did that was probably Philadelphia, because they've been hot on the trail to get a good backup quarterback, which they obviously did.
They always are. They always are trying to do that.
Yep. So I'm right there with you, but I guess where we differ a little bit, I do think it's important. I think the angle that you're taking it from, which I agree with, is like, you didn't have to do that to like, you know, maybe soften the blow for Fields and his, you know, his ego or his team or whatever. I do think that helps his reputation, you know, immensely. I think everyone knew, especially when it comes to the players, when it comes to agents, how close Justin was with his teammates, how much they loved him, how much people around the league love him. And this is, to me, my sort of transition into the Caleb Williams pro day. Keenan Allen was there. And that's telling. That's like hand in hand with me of what Poles said, I don't know, what was it, a month ago by now, when he was like, you know, the players don't always know what's best. They're a little more short-sighted, but that to me speaks about the culture that we're building here. That is all one and the same to me. The fact that, you know, he did put that report out, and even if it was only a kernel of truth, the fact that he's saying, hey, I still do right by my guys here. I didn't draft him. I thought we gave him a pretty fair shake to develop him. It was time to move on. And not only that, Nas, he also called Cole Kmet and DJ Moore and all these dudes who, you know, before the news broke, before it was official, he let them know, hey, this is, you know, what's happening. This is why it's happening. And then like this dude who's been a Bear for 5 minutes is at Caleb Williams' pro day. I mean, all of that
in Bears gear.
In Bears gear. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, that is, again, I know it's small, stupid little salesman shit sometimes, but I do think it goes a long way.
I think the part that you said that I kind of forgot about that you got me on is the agents. Doing the agents a solid does go a long way. And I mean, yeah, and it was very clear he liked Justin. This is a great situation. Russ just posted a video today. This guy's like more like Uncle Rico and Jameis like had a baby. And like that's who I think he is now. Like it's a fucking gimmick. It feels like a parody. I'm just like, there's just no way Justin ain't playing. Like now I saw that video, I was like, oh, we're getting this 4th rounder. Like I just saw it was just Russ taking reps, and I honestly I thought it was like a joke, and it was like it had some caption on it. It's like best time of the year getting ready or whatever. Love the work, and I was just like, fuck off, dude. You're playing 8 games.
Yeah, listen, there's a legitimate shot that Justin Fields beats him out in camp.
I hope that they're open to that, but I saw that the Steelers had already put out like a press release saying like Russ is the starter, and like they didn't want to like create any controversy. But it's just like, I don't know, Tomlin, what attachment does he have to Russ? They're paying him $1 million. They're gonna see Justin throw the ball. Justin's gonna wow them. He's an amazing athlete, and they're gonna be like, we're gonna put this fucking old short dude who can't run anymore in, or we're gonna put like this athletic phenom in.
Well, let's be, I mean, because think about it though, Nas, any sort of shortcoming that Justin Fields has, Russell Wilson has always had them. They don't see the middle of the field very well. They hold the ball forever. They like to play out of structure. Some of the best deep ball throwers our time, very good deep. So it's like, are you taking the older guy who's he's not going to get you in structure plays. It's very rare you drop slants for the guy. It's a lot of the same stuff, but then you're talking about what you just said, the uber athlete. So again, Russ has the better accolades. He has the, you know, everything that comes with greatness but just skill set wise, they're not very different, and one's significantly younger.
And like, you think George Pickens is going to like Russell Wilson? Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy's corny. Like, there's no way Pickens is rolling with him. I just don't see it.
I agree. And they're probably going to get another rookie wide receiver who, like, just that kind of guy, Russ, I mean, is not going to connect with the younger dudes. It's just not happening.
He couldn't connect with dudes when he was their age. Now he's going to be the old guy on the team.
Yeah.
Like, Marshawn, like, I just saw in an interview like 6 months ago. Marshawn doesn't even have Russ's number. And they played for years together, shared the backfield together. Doesn't even have his own number. Like, that's crazy to me.
I've always said there's a reason why LOB didn't like the guy. And right. I sort of feel bad for him because I do think Russ is a hard worker. I think he has a lot of arm talent. He's a good player. But
he was a great player.
He was a great player. But there was a reason for that. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason that it rubbed everyone wrong in the Broncos. You know, when Sean Payton came in, it's like, yeah, we're not doing that shit. Like it's just, and I hate Sean Payton. Like if I had to pick one, I'd pick Russ. But I'm just saying, like, there's a reason that that's lingered with him over the years.
I'm not even gonna get into the Golden Tate controversy.
I'm not familiar. I don't think.
You know, Russ was married before,
Yeah.
and then Golden Tate got traded,
Right.
and then Russ wasn't married anymore. You didn't hear about this rumor?
No.
There's a rumor that there was a little dilly-dallying between GT the third and Russ's ex-wife.
Oh, wow. I'd never heard that.
That is like a rumor. There's nothing that I can say that confirms the truth, but it's in the Twitterverse.
Wow. I got to look into that. No, I've never heard.
I'm just like, I don't know, like, if you respected your QB, like you were dependent on to make money, and like you still did that, like that would be crazy.
That would be nuts. All allegedly, of course, just in case Russ.
This is alleged.
It's alleged. We have no idea.
It's in the Twitterverse. I promise. I did not make this up. You cannot sue me for any of this. This isn't even my idea. This is out there. This is a real rumor.
If you sue me, you're inheriting my debt. You're getting nothing out of me. So
buddy,
just think twice.
Debt coming your way.
Cool. So let's move on to a little bit of the Caleb Williams Pro Day. Super dope to me that Keenan Allen was there, dapped him up. I mean, he's a fucking bear, dude. Like, there's no way around it. They've had dinners with his teammates. They have had dinners with him. They've been there for 3 days. Nas, before I even throw it to you, I don't take much out of Pro Days anyway. Like, it is what it is, but it's still so cool to see and I hate that we're going to do this. We did this with Fields and Mitch. We're going to do it with Caleb and Field. Just sort of the contrast and similarities. That release, man, is so fucking buttery smooth. It's just so quick. It's so on the money. His lower body agrees with his upper body. It's just beautiful to watch that man throw the football.
Yeah, I mean, it looks easy. It looks just way too easy. Like, because it looks so natural, it doesn't even look like this guy's trying. Like, there was a touch throw I just saw him make on like up the left side, and like he just like flicked his wrist and went like 35 yards up the sideline.
I know.
I'm like, okay. I mean, there's just no doubt who this dude is gonna be in my mind. Like, I know he's gonna be good. It's really the measuring stick, the barometer is how good.
Yep.
And I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah, it's how good, but it's also, to me, like this organization recognizing early on what he does well, playing into that, where he needs to develop, and hiding that. That's always the mark of a young quarterback having success in this league, and they're gonna have to do that to the nth degree because he's coming into a team that should be making the playoffs. So you can't, like, this isn't a year where it's like, go out there, fucking balls to the wall, whatever happens, happens. We need to rein in, whatever his shortcomings may be in year one or year two and sort of build in the off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm articulating it the best way, but like normally, I mean, like look at like Bryce Young. You just let him do what the fuck ever in year one, and we clean that up in the offseason because we're not going to win very much anyway. We're looking to win here in year one of Caleb Williams. Maybe unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, to him.
I think we're gonna win games early, but I don't think the offense is gonna impress, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, Waldron." Like, why does no one likes their OC? First of all, two, like, but it's gonna be restrictive because I think the Bears brass is gonna be adamant about not making Caleb have to win games for us.
Yep.
To start, and then hopefully the way I would like envision it is it's a very tight playbook and the reads are as simple as can be, and then you slowly scaffold it out. Now, Caleb has already kind of shown that like he's more advanced than your average rookie QB. So I mean, by having a tight playbook, I mean that like according to what Caleb can already handle.
Yep.
And then you build it out is what I would hope, and adjusting to his strengths, like you said, like not this is my system bullshit. Like, what does Caleb do well? How does that fit our personnel? Okay, let's go. Yeah,
no, I 100% agree. Any takeaways outside of just sort of the obvious that we stated from the Caleb Williams Pro Day, the USC Pro Day?
No, I kind of loathe Pro Days. Like,
same.
How else is a guy supposed to look? I don't really.
Yeah, I think you get to see like the raw, natural ability of it all. I think the only I'm surprised people still do it, I guess, because there's only like, especially when you're this, at that echelon, like there's only negative that can come out of it. Like if you miss a throw that maybe you weren't supposed to, people are going to overanalyze it. But at this point, you've made your decision more times than not when you're the consensus number one overall, the team, I mean.
Right. The only reason I would think to go is if you just hadn't seen him throw in person. That would be like, I just want to get more of a feel, like being on the field, seeing him throw, what that looks like at high level. Other than that, I mean, there's 3 years of him as a starter. Like,
exactly.
You should kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and I think the experience itself isn't a waste of time for Bears brass. Again, the dinners, the meetings, that's all important. They want to gauge his character. That's absolutely on the table there. But it's like they were showing clips of like Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus while he was throwing. They didn't care, not in a bad way. They were talking to Lincoln Riley. They're like, we know this fucking kid's got the physical talent. Like, you do your thing for the cameras, you make it look flashy, and let's pick Lincoln Riley's brain about, what's been going on. So that was pretty cool to see. That last throw, that deep ball.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
Just a joke.
Yeah.
So much fun.
He's so fucking talented. Naz, this is sort of like player's choice here. Do you want to talk about RG3's comments first, or do you want to talk about this weird sentiment, which it seems like it's led by Lawrence Holmes right now, that like the Justin Fields cult has sort of taken and ran with, about this expectations thing with Caleb Williams?
Can you fill me in on the Lawrence Holmes thing?
So there's this sentiment right now that, Caleb Williams has been deemed as generational, and that now that Fields is gone, and we all know that Caleb Williams, or I'm sorry, what did I say? Now that Justin Fields has been traded, and we know that Caleb Williams will be a Bear, that people are like, hey, like, we know he's generational, but he's still going to be a rookie. And they're not necessarily like, they're not like trying to make you not have high expectations, but it's like also just slow down. He's not coming in as a 5-year vet type of thing. Like they're sort of, I think contextualizing expectations for what you can expect out of him in year one. And the Fields cult is taking this as, well, keep that same energy that you had with Justin, as if he wasn't in year 3. It's a weird thing. They're saying like whatever you would have expected from Justin this year, expect the same thing from Caleb, which I still think the floor may be higher. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you probably could still do that, but they're taking this, basically what it comes down to is they're saying like, well, if he doesn't throw for, people have even put a number on it, 4,000 yards, 3,500 yards, whatever the number is, and get us to the playoffs, he's a bust. He's not generational. And it's been this weird, like, Lawrence Holmes is essentially alluding to that, like, keep the same energy. And it's like, this is a rookie still that we're talking about, which has been strange. But I had some thoughts about the whole thing, but that's basically what it boils down to.
Okay, so I guess I don't know if I'm the right person to talk on this, because I think Caleb's better than Justin right now. Like at this very moment. And I don't really get the keep the same energy thing. Justin has got a large sample size of his inability to throw the football on time or to the correct person. So I don't really know how to like respond to that, because that's not going to be an issue for Caleb. The 4,000 yards thing, I don't really know. That's kind of random, considering no quarterback has ever thrown for 3,900 or 3,800 or whatever it is. It's like if he throws for 3,500 yards, and I also think people underrate Caleb's ability to run. I think we're going to see like 400 yards rushing at least from him. I think people don't kind of realize how dynamic of an athlete he is, because his arm is so ultra talented. He's a great athlete. The Justin hype can fuck off. I'm going to be honest. Like, he wasn't good while he was here. He's a great dude, and I was rooting for him, but he wasn't good while he was here. He was dynamic as an athlete, not dynamic as a decision maker. He was not quick-minded. He made good deep throws. He struggled with checkdowns and screen passes and intermediate throws. It's like, it's well documented. So I don't really know, like, the bar is high for Caleb, because he is the number 1 pick, and I get that. I respect it. Totally. It is high. We're going to the playoffs. I'm pretty certain of it. And we don't need an amazing Caleb year to do it. He's going to, if he plays better than Justin, which I'm confident he will, we will go to the playoffs. I was confident we were going to go to the playoffs with Justin.
Yeah, same. No, and I think I have the same thoughts as you. It's just very strange how they continue to move the goalposts. I mean, because it's the same people that I've seen like Justin isn't traded yet. You're not putting together the pieces. Like they're trading number one for Hall, man. Like Justin's still him. He's still QB1 here. And then now that hasn't happened, it's like, well, now that my guy's gone, your guy better be the greatest of all time. If he's not fucking Patrick Mahomes, like that's what it was. That's really what it's been. It's like they took Patrick Mahomes' stats from his first year starting and saying if he doesn't hit those numbers. I mean, what was it like 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and like 10 picks? And it's like, dude, first of all, I don't care about the numbers. Like the eye test to me with the quarterback, especially early on, means way more. Granted, the weapons that he has the ability to get 4,000 plus. Like, let's make no mistake. And if Waldron is who we think he is in terms of just common sense play calling, a lot of play action, running the ball. I mean, he just got the stat that I saw the other day was he had 3 receivers just this last year with 90 plus targets in Seattle. So this guy is spreading the ball, and just like you said, Caleb is advanced to the point where it's not just one option in run or one option in check down. The kid can read a defense. His processing speed, I think, is already better than Justin's. And again, I hate that I said it. We said this a month or two ago. I do think his floor might be where Justin's ceiling was in Chicago. I don't mean it like generally speaking. Justin can go somewhere and supersede that, but I think a baseline rookie year, you think of like Andrew Luck's rookie year, you think of even CJ Stroud's last year, like he can hit that. He can do that.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, there's volatility attached to it. I don't think Caleb's going to have to play from behind as much as Andrew did. And I think it's going to be an efficient year. Like, yeah, I truly think that he's better at hitting guys in stride. He's better at progressions. It's going to be like 35 to 3,800 yards, and it is going to be very easy for him to get there. Like, yeah, he's going to hit DJ in stride. He's going to hit DeAndre is going to get dump offs that he can do something with. Like it's going to be an easy 3,500 yards, no question.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, I could see it even being way bigger than that. But the fact, like, I think my biggest point was, and I'm a proponent to a degree of this as well, is quarterbacks aren't a win, or wins aren't only a quarterback stat. It's also, what the full team, the coaching, and again, we saw 3 losses last year that you chalk up to Justin, if that's what you want to do, that were clearly on Matt Eberflus, right? Like, this is a whole team effort. But they take it a lot, way further in the sense that, like, Justin has no faults. He's never his fault. He never lost us a game. It's just the whole total team, which is asinine. So that same group now is saying, well, if Caleb Williams doesn't win 12 games, he's a bust. It wasn't a quarterback stat just in the last sentence, but now all of a sudden it's a quarterback stat because your guy's gone. Like, it's just this weird sort of petty mindset.
I think you and I maybe we don't disagree. I don't think wins and losses are an all-encompassing quarterback stat.
Right.
I do think they're a quarterback stat. Justin is 10-28. That's an indicator of his effectiveness as a quarterback. It's not all on him. That's why we point to the other numbers. But like when you've started 40 games and you're 20 games under 500, there's it can't just be everybody else. The poor quarterback play is impacting that. And you have to ask yourself, can we win games at a high level with this guy behind center? So, though I don't think it is an all-encompassing stat, when it's that slanted and your win-loss margin is that large, I do think you need to take it in consideration when you're grading a quarterback, because there's several of those games where Justin had an opportunity to send us into OT or to win in the fourth quarter, and he did not come through. And fourth quarter is winning time. So it's like, I do bring it in as a factor. Now, it's not all encompassing. And for sure, when you have a smaller sample size, you can point out to certain things. Like the Detroit game, Justin played literally 3.5 amazing quarters, was very efficient, and Eberflus and Getsy put him in an awful position, and we lost that game. I just think overall, I do think the 10-28, Justin's got to wear that a little bit.
Oh, 100%. No, exactly. I think social media in general has made people lose the nuance of things, because it's not that's not the only stat that you could or should point to. But just, I think you worded it beautifully. You got to wear that at least a little bit, if not a lot of it. We know that quarterbacks have the most say when it comes to games. I think the one year I would like to throw out is year 2 for him. That was, I don't think any quarterback wins. That is fucking tough with what you had on defense and on offense. But regardless, the point that I made, during the immediate reaction podcast was, forget even the wins. Take the 10-28. But then if you want to try to like give him excuses or provide more context, fumbles in the fourth quarter, interceptions in the fourth, none of that is also in your favor either, man. Like, there became a thing where, again, it's not all encompassing towards you, because if the defense gets a turnover here or there, it totally changed the game. Totally understand that. But these other things that you could point to and say, well, fuck, maybe he's 10-28, but look at his completion percentage in the fourth quarter. Look at the opportunities that he did have to bring his team back, and he did it, but he didn't. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of your whole point is like you round it all together. It's a piece of the pie. Maybe not the largest piece. I would point to those other ones that we're talking about right now those are the bigger pieces to why you move on from a guy. And it's, so this whole sentiment, and then like Lawrence Holmes playing into it, I was kind of disappointed with him, because I do look at him as one of the better Chicago broadcasters, but he was banging the table to bring Justin Fields home. And for him to say like, yeah, keep that energy, dude, in year 3, if Caleb is having the same flaws and he's not as good as we thought, I will keep that energy. Like we all will. But they're acting like we gave up on Justin Fields after 1 year. Again, I sympathize with the guy. I don't think he got the fairest shake, even being drafted here to a lame duck regime. I get all the context, but at the end of the day, you don't double down on it just because you feel sorry for him. Like, life sucks. It hurts. It's awful. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. It's not fair, but it was time to move on. It was time to get this guy who was clearly the better prospect.
Clearly the better prospect. And yeah, we didn't do Justin any favors. The level of talent on this team offensively, it's not even a debate. And like, I texted this to you at least a couple times. This is like the Del Negro Tibbs year, like transition. It's like, well, Vinny Del Negro, awful coach. And he was awful. Let's not get into it. He was awful. But then Tibbs comes in and we acquire all these dudes in free agency. And it turns into this thing where like, oh my God, look how much better Tibbs has been down there. I was like, well, I don't know. If we had like a big man rotation like this and guard depth like this, like Vinny he probably would have won 50 games with this too, guys. Like, let's just relax.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I'm glad you brought that up, because part of that whole conversation as well is like, well, why are you guys even excited that they got Keenan Allen? Why are they getting that? We should draft all defense, because shouldn't Caleb be like, dude, can we cut that nonsense out? Like they now all of a sudden they want the wide receiving core of N'Keal Harry and Dante Pettis and everyone to like prove that Caleb is generational. Again, my stance, forget Justin versus Caleb. They could say, call you up right now, Ryan Poles, and be like, Nas, we like you. We saw your fucking high school tape and we want you to be quarterback. I want us to load up everywhere anyway. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's a separate conversation to me than who's better or who's generational. I want good talent at all levels of this football team. So the fact that they want to handicap Caleb Williams because of the situation that Justin Fields was in is so fucking weird to me, dude. Like, I guess, like, what we talked about when we knew he was leaving, of like, man, we like Justin and we do wish he had a better situation and all this. Like, they're taking the almost, I don't know, like the opposite approach to it. Like, it's weird.
Like, why aren't we just fucking happy right now?
I know, that's the whole point.
It's like, I don't understand the need to, I mean, maybe it was like a way to like have a different take. Like, now that we know it's Caleb, we are about to enter a stretch of like not a lot to talk about as a sports media conglomerate. Like, it's just not, it's going to be, we're just all going to try to be like, when do we get to the draft? When do we get to the draft? Because now we know it's Caleb. So all speculation's off the table. All the Justin trade stuff's off the table. So maybe it was just like we need a different take, or I need to put something out there that's going to have some lasting power and we can maybe readdress it, or other people will talk about it. I don't know. But that's the vibe I get. Cause like, this is a phenomenal situation we're in. We should be so positive. The Bears are going to be good. This is our time.
Yep.
Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and that was the one thing. Adam Hogue said this a few weeks ago, and I think it's going to be ever apparent until, Bears fans get their shit together. I mean, think about like other number one picks. Like he brought up the Connor Bedard. on the
Bedard.
Blackhawks. Just
Yep.
that generational type of talent. Everyone was all in. Every Blackhawks fan that I know was like, fuck yes, like we're in it. It's a new era. Why aren't we there right now? Like there doesn't seem to be that same level of excitement for Caleb. I mean, we are, but I mean, generally, like we're not getting that. And it's so weird. And we even got that when we traded up to get Justin Fields. There was this thing of like, fuck yeah, dude. Like he's the second best quarterback in this draft. And we lucked out and got him as the 4th and the 11th on the board. And we all had the right to be excited about it. Sure. Like this is a new guy in, this is a new era. The fact that that's not happening for a legitimate generational talent is weird.
I think part of it's probably like this is the 3rd time in 12 years or in 9 years that we're doing the reset and a new QB. Maybe it's like, I don't know, people's exhaustion from that we're doing this again, 3rd time in a decade. Like,
yeah,
you know,
maybe
that's part of it.
I think it has more to do with just this weird divide of Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams. I truly do. I think that's what's played into it more than anything. Which has been highly annoying. And I hope we're getting past it. There was even one dude, Nas, I don't know if you saw this tweet. He was legitimately dead ass serious, dude. He was like, you know, now that Justin Fields is gone, I got a chance to watch Caleb Williams' film, and I'm gonna like him. Like, and he was essentially saying like he was like a whole threat, and he's like he felt like he was cheating on Justin Fields if he would have watched it while Fields was still in a Bears uniform. Like, what the fuck are we talking about, man? That's weird.
Yeah, that's super weird. Like why is sports emotion affecting your judgment? Kind of thing. Like, I get it. Like, I get like you can feel for the guy and you can love the guy, but it's like, why not try to understand what's happening?
Like, I think that's where some fans still have almost that like childish mindset when it comes to sports, or like that childhood attachment when it comes to sports, because I remember being a kid and, you know, at the trade deadline, even if, you know, the Cubs sucked or whatever, and they traded off one of their better players to get prospects, be like, wow, he's fucking hitting 305. Like, why the hell would you trade the guy? You don't like, you have this sort of short-sightedness. You don't really understand the business of things. You don't get it. I don't think a lot of people, maybe not a lot, let me not quantify it. I don't think some people ever advance past that mindset of understanding why things are happening, even though they may like a player, even though they may want a player to stay. Because even if I was pounding the table of saying, which I'd be wrong on, but let's just live in this scenario. If I was like, Fields is better or just as good as Caleb Williams, I would still have the rationale to say, I get why Poles is doing it, though. You get what I mean?
Right, totally.
But it's like, I don't think people have that. Some people just don't, especially in Chicago markets. There's this weird like blue collar mentality in Chicago that I think holds people's mindsets back.
Totally agree.
Because even like the thing, and I forgot to talk about it during the pro day, and I'm sure you have thoughts on it as well. And then we'll get to the RG3 stuff and get out of here. The answers that Caleb Williams has given to the media, he's got some sauce to him, dude. We haven't. I mean, when's the last time we had that on the offensive side of the football? Anyway, we've had Urlacher. We had these dudes who had that sort of aura. He's got it, dude. I love it.
He has got it. He really does. And I hate that it's being like misconstrued as like something else. And I think it's absurd. I think this is a dude who has been the best at this since he started it. There's no reason for his confidence to be lowered in any way. And like, fucking bring, like, I love that. Like, bring it. Bring the pressure. Like, we want an athlete who thrives in that. Like, yeah, I'm all in. Like, every answer I've actually, instead of making me step away, it's brought me in closer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all in with the dude.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I never want a player to be who they're not personality-wise, right? So, like, totally. I appreciated Mitch for what he was, super media trained, but, you know, that's just sort of who he was. Fields as well, not the most talkative guy, but he was fun. I saw on podcasts, he's funny. He has, but this city has missed that. Because I mean, when was the last time we even had just like a personality? I mean, it was the Cubs, right? With that young core of guys with
and
Rizzo,
like,
and
there was a swagger and kind of like, we're fucking here.
And even fucking Jake Arrieta. Remember when he tweeted at the Pirates before that wild card game of like, I'm coming to. I forgot exactly what he said, but he's basically, I'm coming to fuck you guys up. It was the sentiment behind it.
He was such a badass.
And that's what I mean. We need that, dude. We are like, that's what I'm going to be banging the table for I'm not going to say if, when Caleb Williams is a consensus top 10, top 5 guy in this league perennially, is start acting like we're a big city. Stop acting like we're the grander Illinois. We are Chicago, the third biggest fucking market. Fucking let your nuts hang sometimes, man. Let's
Totally.
stop acting like we're this small market team that has to be blue collar and fight for it. And this, I mean, it all started with for me anyway, recognizing it was with Sea Red Nation of I don't even want Derrick Rose to come back. I want Nate Robinson to come and be the 8 seed and we'll still beat LeBron. Shut up, dude. Cut it the fuck out. Let's get stars. Let's get talent. Let's load the fuck up.
Totally. Yeah. I think part of it is the 30 years or so that the Bears have been not so great of a run franchise. And we kind of been little brothered a little bit. And it's no, we're not the little brother. We're the big brother, guys. Let's fucking pull, let's use our weight and make our presence known here a little bit. We're fucking here and we're about to beat your ass. And I think that's literally what's about to happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But all that said, it will not happen because Caleb Williams is going to force his way out, Eli Manning style.
Oh my God.
According to RG3.
What a clown.
Because,
what an absolute clown.
I mean, why would you ever take a shot in Chicago who doesn't develop quarterbacks, where receivers go to die, and go to the illustrious franchise of the Washington Commanders, they're a quarterback factory, who just churns them out. Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Naz, you had some strong words in the group chat, so I want to open the floor before I even say what I think, because I think we agree. Talk to me, man. What is RG3 smoking?
I just think, okay, RG3 specifically has just always you could tell this is why he wasn't as successful as he could have been in the NFL. He made it, congratulations, but I think the real reason behind his lack of success as a pro was it's all about me all the time. And he finds a way. It's kind of one of those things where I can't help but listen to what he says because I want to hate him,
Yeah.
Because he has awful takes all the time. And for some reason, I listen to these awful takes all the time. I can't believe you fucking said that. And instead of just not listening to him, I continue to keep listening to him, even though it's awful take after awful take. But there's such a narcissism attached to everything. He's always trying to live vicariously through these other quarterbacks and their decisions. And he's just if it were me, it's it isn't you, dog. Your day is over. Your day is dead. That's why you're got a microphone in your fucking office right now recording a podcast. You don't play anymore. And it's just and so it's all right, well, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay relevant? Let me come up with some absurd takes to get me a little viral. And it's just this is just another classic case from this fucking loser. I cannot stand his ass.
No,
but I will continue to keep watching his videos because I love to hate him.
Yeah, what you described is my exact relationship with Emmanuel Acho. I think he's awful at what he does. I think his takes are stupid. We won't touch on it today, but the whole thing he did through the pandemic and with the BLM stuff, I thought was so fucking corny. I don't know if you're familiar with Van Lathan. He's touched on exactly why I think what he was doing was actually more hurtful than anything with the whole uncomfortable conversations thing. Even though his heart may have been in the right place. But anyway,
right.
That's a totally different topic. We'll save that for the for a different podcast. It first of all came off to me as Washington sort of going to him, even though I know he's had a weird relationship with Jay Gruden. I don't know how he feels with the ownership group. They were just toss a little something out there, see if we can't get some traction and get Caleb here. But it also reminded me of not apples to apples, but there was this weird thing from the Fields cultists who were fuck Caleb, he's not even all that good, but if we trade back, we're going to get a haul and get everything. Well, you can't be not good and get the haul at the same time. And it was sort of the same thing where he was just fuck Chicago, come to Washington. That's just this what are we talking about right now, dude?
From a marquee franchise to one of the worst run franchises, period, minus a great coach. And what are we even talking about when it comes to Washington?
And crazy. But the thing is, though, what I hope that Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, and if the McCaskies are in the room at all, just to, say hi, we're going to be signing your paychecks. I hope they don't shy away from that history. We haven't had a great quarterback since Sid Luckman. We haven't had an even good quarterback maybe since Jim McMahon, right? We haven't done a lot of winning over the years. But we want you to not own it, but we want you to take that and run with it. You're our new era. Let's not shy away from it. Let's not do that. Like, this is your opportunity to break every fucking record book within 5 years, to be the best, unanimously the best quarterback in Bears history within probably 3, depending on the stats that you can accumulate and the accolades that you can achieve. Don't hide from it, because at the end of the day, an elite athlete and a generational talent like Caleb Williams shouldn't shy away from that. He shouldn't be scared. And he's not. I'm not saying he is. I'm just like, generally speaking, he shouldn't shy away from it, and he's not shying away from it. So the fact that someone like RG3 would say that, it's sort of like telling on himself if he genuinely means it. Like, would you have done that then if the Bears had that pick at number 2? Like, you would have been, oh no, they've never done, because like, look at what they're doing now. Like, my whole point has been throughout this process is you have the right to be upset that maybe the Bears didn't set Justin Fields up for success, but what they didn't do for Fields, they're doing for Caleb Williams. Totally. Like, we're seeing it right now. They acquired DJ Moore, which maybe wasn't exactly for Caleb, but it was for whoever's going to be here. They get Keenan Allen. They're in prime position at number 9 to either trade back and get other pieces around him. They signed one of the better receiving threats as a tight end 2 and Gerald Everett. Cole Kmet is there. They get one of the more explosive running backs in the league in DeAndre Swift. They're loading the fuck up. Like, the fact that you can't see, forget the history, that you can't see these last 2 years were set up for this exact moment is asinine to me. Because at what point do you like throw that out of the window? Like, do you say, if you're Chris Bryant at the number 1 pick, I don't want to go. They haven't won in 100 years. I'm not going to Chicago.
Right, literally.
Even though they have Theo Epstein, who was the best, maybe one of the best executives in all of sports of all time. Totally. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you let that sentiment go and say, we're in a new era, I'm ready to conquer this shit, I'm the king of Chicago now?
Exactly. It's like, if you want to be the guy, why wouldn't you want to just like, why wouldn't you want to go to a franchise and completely reverse their fortunes? You would be an absolute legend.
Yeah.
So, those Cubs players are never going to buy a drink in this city again in their life.
No.
Like, it was mind-boggling. And it's like, it's not even the RG3 take. It's like, there's a few of these outrageous takes circulating around, and it's just like, what's the end game? I don't really get it. Like the Dion warm weather bullshit, the coward shit. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't really like. And it's ultimately self-serving. People want to be in the headlines. They want that clickbait. They want the Bleacher Reports. They like it. I get it, but it's like, just listen. Like, can you say something that's popular, like that gets out there, that's actually smart? Like, I don't get it. It bugs me.
No, I'm right there with you. And I would even be up for like listening to debates about like, is he really generational? And like comparing him to Andrew Luck. I'm here for that. All of that is on the table for me. But this weird, like, it only reinforces, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, Nas, but it does reinforce my thought that the national media has never really liked the Bears, even during our winning seasons. Like, we don't get very much attention. It's only negativity that's brought their way. I mean, even to this day, they find reasons to bring up the double doink. Like, it's just weird. And now we're in this position to like really potentially take the league over. And it's like, no, we're still going to find ways to be negative about you.
Yeah, no, they just, I mean, people they want to keep you down. We've been a laughing stock for 30 years. Like, I'm not afraid to say it. It's been it's a disappointing 30 years. It's been very poorly run.
Yep.
People want to keep us down there, and that's fine.
Yeah, no, whatever. I know.
It's about to change, and in 10 years, the narrative is going to be totally different, because we will have a great QB at the helm. We will have a lot of playoff appearances, maybe a Super Bowl, who knows? And it's going to be a different vibe. But for right now, like, whatever. Like, you want to keep shitting on us? Fine. Watch this.
Agreed. No, and the last thing, I wanted to put this down, and I totally forgot, but it shouldn't take too long. I also think it's easier, because you're right. The Bears are a laughing stock, and I think they were. And because of that, the fans, I think it plays into what we were saying earlier about like having this weird attachment towards players. And I've already seen, and this is more of me being annoyed. I don't think hasn't caught much traction, but I've seen it from multiple people, and it's, it's just a weird time. Let me break it down to you. DeAndre Swift is going to be wearing number 4 for the Chicago Bears, and everyone in the quote retweets and on the, not Eddie Jackson's number. Oh, poor old Eddie. Like, what are we? And it's like, why do we fall in love? That's what I mean. Like, and I wanted to pose to you, like, am I being too harsh? I don't dislike Eddie. His 2018 season was fucking incredible. One of the better single seasons from a safety that we've had, but like
5 years ago.
Yeah, but people like fall in love with these guys, like these mediocre or above average.
Number the whole time.
It hasn't been. He was better as at 30 as a 38. Once he turned to 4, shit hit the fan anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how could we be attached to something? The guy did one. He himself wasn't here a decade. He wore that number for what, 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But it's just the sentiment of it though. Of like, oh weird. No, like the people were upset that they cut Eddie Jackson, and then people were upset now that that DeAndre Swift is going to be wearing his number, and that just like goes into that weirdness that like, dude, why are you like, cool, you can like Eddie, that's fine, I'm okay with that, but to act like it's just this, oh my God, you're doing a disservice to Eddie Jackson by giving away his number right after you cut him. Eddie was like, if you sum up his whole career here, average to above average, he had 1 elite season, and like people like cling on to this, and it's like, are we that deprived? We probably are, but like, I don't know, it's so weird to me, man.
I mean, Roshan wears number 23. Where are the Devin Hester supporters? We have a Hall of Fame kick returner, and his number gets worn every fucking week by a goddamn rookie, and no one said shit. Why the fuck do we care about Eddie Jackson? Like, that's weird. That's really weird to me. That sentiment of holding on to like mediocre players that might have been good, that's weird. That's super weird.
And that's always been my point. And I've always saw it much. We're starting to see it now with the Bears fandom, but I've always seen it much more in Sea Red Nation, the Super Bulls fans that like just love mediocrity. They don't ever want superstar players. They only want the blue collar guys. And we're starting to see that now that we're like loading up, and it's like, oh no, like we're getting away from being mediocre at best forever. Like, how could we, like, I almost feel like, Nas, I'm going to be super honest with you. I think people are scared of expectations in the city. I think people are fucking terrified. Totally. They want to be the underdog. They want to be the guys that say, oh, like you guys went 9-8, snuck into the playoffs and won a playoff game. Oh, hats off. Great. You guys are so hard workers. You know, you played the Chicago Bears. Fuck that, dude. I don't want that shit anymore.
I think it's something the city really has battled through. Like, remember like the 07-08 Cubs with Lou, and we got swept in the playoffs both years in a row.
The Dodgers and Diamondbacks back-to-back. Wasn't that the, yeah.
Yep. And we were like, one of those years, we had like one of the best records in the league. Like, we were a clear favorite. And there's an anxiety level in this city with expectations. Like, even that fucking World Series we won was like the most brutal victory possible.
Yep.
You know, like, it was just like the moment Rajai Davis hits that homer, you're like, yeah, knew it. We just don't deserve it. Like, we don't deserve. We're like self-loathing. We're like thinking it's our faults. It's just like, we don't deserve this shit. Like, that's like the mentality, because we haven't won since because we hadn't won since 1998, and we had like been mediocre at every level except for the NHL. And it's like, yeah, it's great that the Blackhawks won, and there's a nice contingent here, and it's like, but it's still hockey. It's not running this city, you know? It's not the lifeblood of this city like the Bears and the Bulls are, or the Cubs on the north side. So it's like, yeah, no, this city has trouble with expectation, and the expectation to be great. Truly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And that's what has always bothered me. Now that like I'm an adult and I understand the scope and I see what's happening. Because like everyone, that whole year that they won the World Series, I was all in. And I was like, dude, if I get my fucking heart broke, I get my heart broke. It is what it, but I can't live scared as a fan. I can't. There's no fun in it for me to be like, oh, they sucked anyway. I never, or like almost like semi-rooting against them just to get the pressure off of you as a fan. Fuck that, dude. I will get my heart broken. And that starts with, if Caleb Williams is a bust, my heart's ready to be broken. It is what it is. If he's great and we never win a Super Bowl, but we keep getting there and we keep getting there, I'm going to keep putting that on the line. I don't fucking care. Like, I would much rather be a delusional Cowboys fan that wins, your team wins 11, 12, 13 games and you don't make it past the first or second round of the playoffs every fucking year, but you have that hope every year too. I'll take that over what the fuck we've dealt with since we were fucking kids. Like, dude, I had to convince grown ass men in their 40s and 50s to like just root for the Cubs in 2016. Like, I mean, they're Cubs fans, but I'm saying, like, be all in. Why are you guarded? Why are you defensive? Be in it.
It's a lot, man.
But it's the same thing with Caleb. Be fucking in it, dude. Yeah. It's like, I think people get skewed. They look at like Baker Mayfield and even Bryce Young and some of these other number one overall picks, they were number one overall picks. No one has been talked about the way that Caleb has since Andrew Luck. Trevor Lawrence came close. I think the pandemic maybe threw off some of what you could have done. But even from a prospect angle, he was never looked at that way because there were 1Bs. Some people graded Zach Wilson. Some people graded Justin Fields higher. No one in their right fucking mind right now is grading anyone higher. The only conversations that you see are like, let's go down the list since 1995. Who would you take over Caleb Williams? And the only answer has been Peyton Manning. And then sometimes Andrew Luck. That's been like 50-50. But like, dude, this is different, man. Just lean into it.
Totally. And like, not every draft, just like, like not every NFL or NBA season's like built the same. It's like, like that year Dirk won the title, it hits a little different than like the year the Spurs won the title in 1999. Like there are certain years or certain evals, like there's certain drafts, like the current NBA draft outlook doesn't look really good for this year in June. It's different from the Cooper Flag draft, which is the very next year, or the Wemby draft that we just had. Like things weigh out differently. Not everything's built the same. And it's just like Caleb is different. This is going to be an era starting a franchise building cornerstone player.
Yep.
That we're about to get. It's going to be great. It's
and I even to further it, and this would be my last point. I went off on a tangent I did not expect to go down, but I get so upset when I think about the fucking idiots who think that way in this city. I even think it goes to like that same mindset goes to trusting polls. Because if that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have moved off of Justin. Because I think me and you are on the same page. Caleb is better. I agree. I think right now he's better. And I think his ceiling is way higher too. But I still expected to win this coming year with Justin, even with this loaded roster. Like playoffs are bust for me, regardless of who's there, unless it was like fucking Nick Foles or something. But you get what I'm saying, like that. So you got to have your trust in something. You got to lean into something. You can't just continue to be guarded and continue to want this like mediocrity all the time.
Totally. Oh, God forbid the first game we like score like 10 points. Oh my God! Can you just imagine? For Caleb's sake, I hope we put up like 24 at least. Like something in the 20s.
No, this is what's going to happen. Caleb's going to throw the ball 17 times that game, and they're going to win like 21-18, and everyone's going to be like, the generational talent isn't trusted to throw more than 18 times in the NFL, huh, boys?
Oh my God! Yeah, that's going to be something.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, Naz. I think that's everything. I would like to start diving into some prospects, whether it's quarterback rankings, wide receiver rankings. It's hard for me to do running backs. They're all just kind of the same. I don't know if we do like tight ends. I don't know. We'll do something, but leading up to the draft. And then I had some other, I don't know where the hell I put my ideas list, but we'll start leaning into more than that. I mean, the Caleb conversation and Caleb Justin, that's over. It's over with. I think we're there. We'll do some creative draft stuff. Maybe even do like a mock draft one of these episodes. I can like do a share screen and we do like an ESPN one or so. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it'll be very draft centric moving forward until the draft. Afterwards, I think we just start talking expectations. Bears will make some more moves, so maybe continue to talk there. But yeah, the offseason is upon us. Caleb Williams is a month on the dot. Isn't it April 20th? Is it? I don't know what. Just about a month away.
Yeah, we're about a month away
from him being officially a Chicago Bear. Naz, it feels good.
Fucking go.
Hell yeah. All right. Later, Naz. Later, everybody. Later.